Picture this. You're sitting at your kitchen table, laptop open. You've been scrolling through real estate listings for 20 minutes. Nice houses, normal houses, not mansions, just regular three-bedroom homes in a decent neighborhood. And the price tags keep reading $480,000, $520,000, $550,000. You close the laptop, and somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet thought surfaces. Is buying a home even possible for someone like me? That thought isn't pessimism, it's math. Because here's the number nobody is talking about loudly enough. Right now, in 2026, a household needs to earn over $106,000 a year just to afford the median-priced home in America. Not a luxury home, not a home in San Francisco or Manhattan. The median, the middle, the average, and the median household income in the United States? About $83,000. That gap, that $23,000 annual shortfall between what people earn and what home ownership actually costs is the story of the American housing market right now. And understanding it might be the most important financial education you get this year. For decades, buying a home was the default script of adulthood. You got a job, you saved up, you put down a down payment, and you bought a house. It was uncomfortable, it stretched your budget, but it was doable. It was the thing you did. And most people still believe deep down that it works that way, that if you just earn a decent salary, live responsibly, save consistently, the house is eventually there waiting for you, a reward for doing everything right. But here's the uncomfortable truth that 2026 is forcing people to confront. The math has fundamentally changed, and it didn't change slowly. It changed in just a few years, so fast that most people's mental model of home ownership is still stuck in 2018. Here's a simple way to see how dramatic the shift has been. In 2020, mortgage rates sat at around 3%. On a $400,000 home with 20% down, that gave you a monthly principal and interest payment of roughly $1,350. That's tight for many people, but workable. Fast forward to today, rates are sitting around 6.4%. On the same $400,000 home, which now probably costs $500,000 because prices also went up, your monthly payment is closer to $2,500, nearly double. For the same type of house, your salary did not double. Nobody's salary doubled. This is what people mean when they say the math got brutal. It didn't creep up on us. It hit like a wall.
Let's actually do the math on a $500,000 home, step by step. Because this is where most people get their first real shock. Before you even make a single mortgage payment, you need a down payment. The standard advice is 20%, which on a $500,000 home is $100,000. $100,000 in cash, sitting in your bank account ready to hand over. That is the first wall. For context, the average American between 25 and 34 has a net worth of around $76,000, and most of that isn't liquid cash. It's in retirement accounts, a car, scattered savings. The idea of having $100,000 sitting available for a down payment is for most people in their 20s and 30s years away at best. Now, you can put down less, 10%. Even 3.5% with an FHA loan, but every dollar less you put down means you're borrowing more, which means a higher monthly payment, which means you need even more income to qualify. Let's say you put down $100,000. You're borrowing $400,000 at 6.4% over 30 years. Your monthly principal and interest payment, roughly $2,500. Now add property taxes. The national average is around 1.1% of the home's value annually. On a $500,000 home, that's $5,500 a year, about $460 a month. Then homeowner's insurance. Call it $150 to $200 a month. If your down payment was less than 20%, add private mortgage insurance, another $100 to $200 a month. Total monthly housing cost? You're looking at $3,100 to $3,300 before you've paid a single utility bill, bought a single piece of furniture, or fixed a single thing that breaks. Now here's where the income requirement comes in. Lenders use something called the 28% rule. The idea is that your total monthly housing payment should not exceed 28% of your gross monthly income. This isn't an arbitrary number. It exists because research consistently shows that households spending more than 30% of their income on housing face significantly higher rates of financial stress, missed payments, and inability to save for anything else. So if your housing payment is $3,200 a month, divide that by 0.28. You need a gross monthly income of $11,400, which means an annual salary of roughly $137,000. Not as a household, not combined with a partner, per the lender's calculation, though most lenders will allow combined income if you're buying with someone. But even as a dual-income household, you're still looking at two people collectively earning $137,000 or more, with $100,000 saved for a down payment, with clean credit, with manageable existing debt. Nationally, households must earn $106,731 annually to afford a median-priced home, well above the U.S. median household income of $83,730. And that's for the median home. A $500,000 home pushes that requirement considerably higher. Here's where the psychology becomes just as important as the math. There is a well-documented phenomenon in behavioral economics called anchoring. It means that the first number we encounter in any situation becomes our mental reference point, even when that number is no longer accurate or relevant. For housing, the anchor most people carry is their parents' home, or their older siblings' home, or the house a friend bought 5 years ago. And that anchor says a normal house costs $250,000 to $350,000. That's what's reasonable. That's what's achievable. But that anchor is outdated. It's a ghost price from a different economic era. And when reality doesn't match the anchor, the brain doesn't update the anchor. It concludes that something has gone wrong, that the market is temporary, that prices will come back down, that if you just wait a little longer, the numbers will make sense again. This is why so many people have been waiting to buy for 3, 4, 5 years. They're waiting for the market to return to their mental anchor. And in most cities, that anchor no longer exists. Getting monthly housing payments back to 2019 affordability levels would require household incomes to rise by 56% to a median of $132,171, or home prices to fall sharply. Neither looks realistic anytime soon. There's another psychological trap working here, and it's called the social proof illusion. When people see friends, neighbors, or coworkers buying expensive homes, they assume those people can comfortably afford them. But what they're actually seeing is someone who was approved for a mortgage, which is very different from someone whose financial life is healthy. Lenders may approve debt-to-income ratios as high as 45% or even 50% on certain loan programs. That means a lender might hand you a mortgage that consumes nearly half of your pre-tax income. They're protected because they'll sell the loan to investors. You're the one who has to live inside that budget every month. Being approved and being able to afford it are two completely different things. But we rarely see the stress happening behind other people's closed doors. We only see the house. In 39 states and the District of Columbia, over 65% of households are priced out of the median-priced new home market. The majority of Americans cannot comfortably afford to buy a median-priced home right now. But because the people who can afford it are visible, they're the ones buying. It creates the illusion that home ownership is still accessible to most people. It isn't. Not in the way it once was.
So what does all of this mean for someone who actually wants to own a home? It means the strategy has to change. First, stop using old benchmarks. If you're mentally targeting a $500,000 home because that's what normal costs in your city, you need to reverse engineer the income and savings required first, before you fall in love with a price point. Calculate the actual monthly cost. Apply the 28% rule to your own income. Find out where you actually stand, not where you hope you stand. Second, the down payment is the real bottleneck, and it requires a dedicated strategy, not just passive saving. A median income household with enough for a 20% down payment can afford a home priced around $331,000. That means the down payment amount itself determines which tier of the market you can access. Treating it as a separate savings goal, automated, protected, and growing in a high-yield account, is more important than any other single financial move for aspiring homeowners. Third, consider what a dual income purchase actually changes. Two people each earning $65,000, a combined $130,000, completely transforms the affordability picture compared to a single earner. This doesn't mean you should make life decisions based on mortgage math, but it does mean that for many people, the path to homeownership runs through a financial partnership. Fourth, geography is a lever that most people underuse. Cities like Pittsburgh and Cleveland require salaries between $64,000 and $67,000 to afford a median-priced home. That means less than two-thirds of what's needed in most major metros. In an era of increasing remote work flexibility, the question, "Where do I have to live?" deserves a harder look than most people give it. And finally, mortgage rates have been slowly declining since late 2025, and Bankrate projects the average 30-year rate for 2026 will be around 6.1%, potentially dropping as low as 5.7%. Every percentage point drop in rates meaningfully improves what you can afford. The people who are building their down payment now, improving their credit, reducing their debt, they're positioning themselves for the window that opens when rates eventually come down further. Here's the thought I want to leave you with. Home ownership isn't dead, but the casual version of it, the just save up a bit, get a mortgage, move in version, that version is gone for most people in most markets. And pretending otherwise, waiting for a market that no longer exists, is one of the most expensive forms of financial denial there is. The people who will buy homes over the next few years aren't the ones waiting for prices to feel normal again. They're the ones who looked at the real numbers, accepted the new reality, and built a deliberate plan inside of it. A bigger down payment, a longer savings runway, a willingness to think differently about location, about timing, about what affordable actually means in 2026. The dream of owning a home is still real. It's just more demanding than it used to be. And the gap between the people who get there and the people who don't will be decided not by luck, not by income alone, but by whether they understood what the math actually required and started building toward it on purpose. The house exists. The path just looks different now.